to Everyday Cooking with Ann. Tonight I'm making my blueberry French toast casserole. I'm doing a brunch tomorrow because it's Easter and I'm inviting my children and grandchildren over. And this is one of the dishes that I'm preparing, and it's a family favorite that everybody loves. So I know that you will love it too. So let's get started, and I'm going to start showing you about the bread. Okay, to get started, we've already buttered our casserole dish that we're going to be putting our casserole in. And this bread is our artisan bread that we make very often, and probably once a week. We never buy bread at the store. You can buy bread at the store, but I want you to make sure you buy a hearty piece of bread, not really like Wonder Bread, because it won't hold up in this casserole. But the recipe calls for 12 pieces of bread, and that's about what we have here, a little bit more maybe. So what you do is you take half of the bread, and you're going to put it into our buttered casserole dish. And these are like cubes of about 1 inch. Okay, so I put half of that in. I'm going to put in 2 8-ounce packages of cream cheese, and I'm just taking little pieces like this so it'll melt in here. This really makes it yummy. So I've cut up a couple of packages of that and just spreading it over the bread so it will melt. You can see just how simple this recipe is going to be. And this is so easy because you do need to make it the night before. It needs to sit all night in the refrigerator and soak up all of the yummy egg mixture that I'm going to show you how to make in just a moment. Okay, now I'm putting in a cup of fresh blueberries. I'm sprinkling those on top. Okay, and now I'm adding the other portion of the bread to go on top. And I might have more than I really need. I didn't measure this necessarily, so I probably have about enough right here. This is the same bread that I taught you how to make croutons with, so I'm going to point to my crouton recipe again one more time after this video is over as well. So it's about this much bread in this large 9x13 casserole dish. And that's step 1 of our next step of this recipe is I have cracked 12 eggs. Okay, it's ready to beat right here. I'm going to turn on my mixer and beat these up, and then I'm going to be adding 2 cups of milk. Now you can use half and half, a little bit of cream, however much you want to do, but make it sure it's 2 cups of milk or half and half or some kind of milk that will work for this. So I'm going to turn this on right now. Then I will be adding some homemade maple syrup. If you have regular maple syrup, you can use that too, but I like my homemade, and I'm going to point to that, how to make your own homemade maple syrup at the end of this video too, so you can make that if you'd like. And then we'll be putting in a couple of teaspoons of vanilla as well. So let's get started on beating our eggs. You just need to beat those, and now I'm going to slowly add in my 2 cups of milk / cream. And my 1/3 of a cup of maple syrup. Now we are going to pour all of this egg mixture on top of our bread and blueberries. Kind of mash it down the best you can in your mixture so it can be soaking up all night long. And then we are going to cover this with some foil and put it in the refrigerator. It needs to set overnight. I believe I forgot the vanilla, like the most important part. So honestly, this is what I'm doing. I'm just going to sprinkle some on the top here and hope that it soaks in. This is about 2 teaspoons. There you go. I can't believe I forgot that was one of the easiest parts. In the refrigerator tomorrow morning. When I'm ready to serve, you need about an hour and a half because you need to take this out of the refrigerator for about 30 minutes to kind of get to room temperature. And then when you're ready to bake, it'll take about an hour to do. Half of it covered and the other half uncovered. And while you're doing that, I'm going to teach you how to make the blueberry syrup that's going to go on top. Okay, before we put our French toast in the oven, it's been sitting all night in the refrigerator. I'm going to go ahead and flip over some of this bread so that it's on the bottom. And some of the drier pieces are on the top. That are on the top will be on the bottom. So I'm going to just flip this over. You can see the egg mixture on the bottom there. That way all of the pieces there won't be any dry pieces on top. Okay. Also, before I put it in, I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on top too. I think that's going to add a little bit of flavor and excitement to the dish. And put my top back on. Okay, again, we're going to be putting this in for 30 minutes. Morning time for Easter. And now I'm going to put my breakfast casserole in the oven. Let me just show you what it looks like after it's been soaking all night in the milk and egg mixture. And I'm going to go ahead and cover it. We're going to put the cover on for 30 minutes. And then we're going to take it off for another 25 or 30 minutes. And it'll be done by then. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in my oven at 350 degrees. And I'm going to set my timer for 30 minutes to take the cover off. Okay, meanwhile, we're going to be making the blueberry syrup. This is so easy. I'm going to be adding a cup of water, a cup of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. I'm going to turn my stove on high. I'm going to start mixing this in. Now this is going to take about 4 minutes before it starts thickening, and that's what we want to do, is get it all cooking up a little bit. So as soon as this thickens up, I'll be right back, and then we're going to be putting the blueberries starting to thicken. This is when you want to throw in your cup of blueberries. Mix those in, and you're going to keep this just on a very low simmer right now because these blueberries need to burst. So you're going to simmer this now. Keep an eye on it. You don't have to be right here. Keep an eye on it for about 10 minutes. We're going to wait and come back and show you the blueberry sauce when it's complete, the blueberry syrup when it's completely finished. We've been simmering our blueberries in our syrup for about 10 minutes, and you can see they've all bursted. Well, we've got a nice blueberry syrup with some of the blueberries not bursted, but they bursted into the sauce. And they're ready to put into a jar and to put on the table for the syrup. Then you need to add also at the very end a couple of tablespoons of butter, which give it, of course, a lot of really great flavor. So we're going to melt this down, and then we're ready to serve. Our casserole is still in the oven. We'll be bringing that out in about a half an hour, and we'll see you then. Our French toast casserole is finished. Here is our homemade blueberry sauce to go on top of it. I'm going to dish into here just to show you what it looks like. It has the cream cheese and the blueberries in the middle, all thoroughly baked. Now you can use regular syrup on this too, as well as the blueberry. But I'm going to just put a little bit of this on top. And you know what, I don't have it ready right now, but I would probably plop some whipped cream on top of this because whipped cream is my favorite food. And I just want to mention a couple of other videos that will not only help you with this video, but you could try learning how to make my artisan bread that I used in this video. It's so easy to make, so much less expensive than anything you would buy in the store. It's a habit that if you need bread in your life, this is the way to do it. Another video that you might want to try is my hot apricot crepes. They would make a great other brunch offering to go along with this one. Just something different and really unique and wonderful. Have a great and happy Easter. That's what we're going to do today with our family.